Hi friends, so today I want to talk to you about the month of November. It's a very interesting month we're living in. I want to touch base with you with all the things that are happening, the election, the turmoil, the craziness, and all the predictions that Dana Coverstone covered in his November dream. I also want to talk to you about the dream he had recently about, well, you'll hear about it. It's a very interesting dream he had about um, a casket. We'll see. So today I want to talk to you and give you hope. No matter what happens, we are in a good position. God has everything under control. No matter what happens, we are good. We have hope. We have peace. We have love. And that's all that counts. No matter who wins the presidency, no matter what happens or how they count their votes, as long as we stay in peace, in shalom, we'll be good to go. We should not worry. We should not really despair. There is nothing to despair about. Like I said, God has everything in control, and we will be fine no matter what happens. So his very interesting dream that he recently had for, he said possibly November, December, he saw a big map, like an atlas on some kind of electric grid network. He saw on the face of the earth. He saw different lines going through the map, and with different lines they had different lights that were flashing and shining and going back and forth. It was like an information, some kind of network. And he saw all kinds of points, like a data transmitter going. People in white coats were trying to fix those lines. They were trying to get the data going back and forth. And some of them were going great. They were flashing red. And some were going so fast and they were overheating themselves. But the people who were trying to fix them, they were all looking at them and making sure they were going good. Then he saw lines coming from Oregon, Washington, and California. That's where he saw where they were starting from. And then the lights were going and entering the middle of America and all flashing hard, and they're going faster and faster and faster. The workers did not have time to get them fixed up and get them going. And he saw the big cities start to blow up. The information started to flash and blow up, and he saw smoke coming from those cities. And then it was going fast, and then it entered into Philadelphia. When it hit Philadelphia, it entered into the Liberty Bell. And the Liberty Bell split in two from the pressure of it. And then the workers were rushing around, and the lines started going into the White House. And they were trying to prevent that. They were trying to turn them off. And it didn't work. And all the lights came rushing into the White House, and the White House split in half as well. That's what he saw in his dream. So imagine that. And then when he saw all of those things split up, the dream changed. And after he saw the smoke go up in the sky, he saw it created a word. The word said discovery. And then he saw like the White House, and then he saw a casket in the middle of a rotunda with a sign that said inside was a Democratic candidate for the office of president, and a calendar hanging above the casket. It said December 17th. He saw people were there. They were all kind of like serious and solemn looking. He saw people standing around the casket, but no one was crying. They were all kind of standing there looking at the ground. He saw senators that were there, and they were kind of shaking their heads and have fists in their head. They were all upset a bit. And so then and they all had their shoes off. They were all standing barefoot. After a while, one senator went outside. He got his shoes and he ran outside towards the White House, and he was yelling and cursing. And then he saw his final, like on his dream, he saw like another man was standing behind where the president usually gives the union address every year. He tapped the microphone 3 times and he said, "A house divided against itself shall not stand." And he went to the light switch and turned down all the light switches, and it turned dark. And he woke up. So, very interesting dream, I'm telling you. So hopefully nobody dies. I don't think it's anything for like in the real life. I think it's all more on a symbolic way of thinking. All those data ports and everything. So something may happen pretty soon. And so something may happen in November into December. So let's talk about all the predictions that October, we won't touch October anymore. We'll talk about the predictions that happen in November, that are happening already, that he predicted in his other dreams and that are coming true. So yes, November predictions are coming true from Pastor Dana Coverstone dream. He saw a lot of things that were very interesting that we can point out to. First of all, he did see a lot of protesting, and now we do see the same thing over and over. People are walking the streets, they're unhappy, they're not sure what they want. He saw cities on fire. Is that yet to come? Possibly, we'll see if that will come true. Then he saw headlines that read, "Trump victory challenged," everywhere. And we know for sure that it's leaning towards Joe Biden at this time, so it almost seems impossible that that could happen. And if it does happen, does this mean it will be challenged if he does win? So in his dream, he saw protesters that were weary and asleep and dirty and dingy and like they have not slept in weeks. So this means that this could take up to a few weeks. Like they're stating that they may take at least until next week to count all the votes and to figure out who's the winner and how this country will lean. So that's possibly, if that happens, people will be very tired. And a lot of people are already since they're protesting, they want something to happen. So when it's being like taking for such a long time, instead of just one day like they used to, now it's taking weeks. People are getting upset. So then he saw like there was a bell that rang. Which bell? I'm not sure. But suddenly people all came to life, and Dana saw people screaming and getting violent and over the election results, to a point that people were firing weapons randomly into the sky. People were angry and very mad. I know this is already happening a bit in America, so I'm not even sure. The election hasn't been even, it's passed, but there's no results, no final results. People already are getting upset. Then he saw a person with a plaque or a sign that read, "The obvious winner is not so obvious." So he is saying, what is he saying? Who is the obvious winner? Who it will be? So, and then he kind of he put his head in shame, and it just makes you wonder who was in shame. Was it a Trump supporter or a Biden supporter? Then he saw the crowd was with a frenzy, with hatred and anger. People were hitting each other with signs. He saw more people He saw more cities on fire and more pillars of smoke coming from them. He saw crumbled and burned buildings. So this could still happen, because we never know what will happen when they finally announce who is the next president. So people were stating that a lot of people were predicting, even before this all happened, they're stating that it involves the mail-in voting. So there was having a lot of, there was some kind of historically proven scheme that was, it had a lot of inaccuracies in voting and brought a lot of doubt, and people were concerned about fraud in elections, because they had, especially they had like those states where there's a lot of Democrats, they had 80 million ballots that they just mailed in from random people, which don't, you can't really pinpoint to which county they're coming from. So it's just a sad fact that it's like spreading over the internet, that people are listening that there's possibly fraud with voting. So if that's happening, what would people even, how can they be for sure, how can they be positive that the next president is the next president? In the dream, he also saw like there was Hillary in the dream, and Trump was standing there, and he saw handguns being shot and fired, and the Secret Service was trying to prevent, and they were jumping in front of the president to take the bullets for him. Then they had him running and getting into his car. So they're stating this, possibly indicating that one of the two things. First, they're saying it could be a symbolic, which will be like a renewed President Trump attack, or it could be an assassination attack, or it could be more of just a symbolic attack that could happen on the news or something else. So then he saw a huge explosion with Joe Biden and Kamala, and he said it was so huge that it made a huge hole in the ground. And he saw Kamala Harris crying in disbelief, and when she was crying, her tears were like quarters. And he said a lot of buildings got collapsed. So this hasn't happened yet, so we're not sure that will happen or what would happen in the future. All we can do is wait and pray and see. We're not sure if that will happen, but we'll see. November is still long. So November is a dark month, more symbolically than physically, but it is a dark month for a lot of people. A lot of people are unsure. They're not sure what to do, but there is light and hope on the horizon. Right now, November will be, America will be like in an emergency, they're like, we're waiting for things to happen. We're not sure. So there may be also a lot of outages, electric outages, due to storms and possibly chaos that may erupt in the different cities. And like he saw, a lot of businesses were shuttered and destruction came. So we're not sure that will still come. So as you see, some of the predictions have came true already, and some are still pending. Pray that we will survive November. But I know December will be very interesting too, and I will make another video about that. So if you haven't seen my video about 7 waves that are coming to America, and actually to the whole world, you should take a look at that, 7 waves, because I was thinking more like of different things that are happening, but it may be just pertaining to the November. Just a lot of things that are happening. Each wave is stronger than the first one. So take a look at that if you and it was in my dream. It had like all the American foundations were crumbling, and it's really sad if that happens. So in the last part in his dream, he saw shock and awe in the USA. So, and then he had UN steps in to help host the nation. So it may be a symbolic headline. The nation will be shocked, but in awe of the grace of God, how God takes care of everything. We may be shocked of the things that happen or come true, come being exposed. But all we have to do is remain braced and stay calm. So stay calm, because we're on the brink of a very shocking exposure, a blow up, and it will expose a lot of things, and some people will go to jail. That's according to some dreams that people were seeing for this month. And we will see more of our voting system. It will expose the voting system, how it's handled, and there may be a lot of problems with that. So pray hard that you will survive this year. There's only 2 months left. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. And my final thought is, so brace yourself. God is close. God has everything in control. He hears our prayers. And I want to leave you a word from Isaiah 56, verse 7. Even them will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar. For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all the people. So take care, stay tuned. More are coming, more interesting videos, and we'll see you next time.